I was drunk in the back seat of my car with nowhere to go and no desire to find somewhere. That is where my divorce took me. Not to some dark place emotionally, to an actual parking lot. I was living out of my car, drinking myself numb, with zero will to try to rebuild my life. Zero. I wasn't looking for a way out of the pain. I had stopped looking for anything. And I want you to picture what that actually looked like. I wasn't parked somewhere obvious. I was strategic about it. I would find tire shops, strip mall, places where a car sitting overnight wouldn't raise any sort of suspicion. Nobody questions a car parked in front of tire shops, so that's where I slept. I was peeing in bottles in the back seat, sneaking behind the strip mall in the middle of the night to use the bathroom in the bushes, passing the hours to music in the dark, looking for any song that would give me something to hold on to. And I was doing all of this in the backseat of a Cadillac Escalade, an old Cadillac Escalade with a dented quarter panel and faded paint. Not long before that, the same car was parked in a gated community. Now it was my bedroom behind a strip mall. That is what my divorce did to me, and I need you to understand one thing before I go any further. I grew up loving marriage. I watched my parents go through one of the most devastating divorces I've ever witnessed. I watched family member after family member go through the same thing and get destroyed by it, bouncing from relative's house to relative's house, living on couches. And I made a promise to myself as a kid that I was going to be the one that broke that cycle in my family. I believed in marriage with everything that I had. And then I became the statistic I swore I would never be. That is what was sitting with me in the back of that car. Not just a failed marriage, the collapse of everything that I had told myself I was gonna be, and I didn't handle it. I just quit. There were multiple stints living out of that car. A few weeks here, back to a friend's couch, then back to the car. And at one point, the owners of the real estate office I once worked at, they found out about what was happening to me. They offered me a storage closet, a blow-up mattress on the floor surrounded by shelving and boxes. And I took it because I had nothing else. But here's the part that still gets me. That was the office where I used to hold my real estate license. These were the people I had sat in meetings with, people I knew, and every single morning I set an alarm for 5 o'clock just to get up, to unfold and undo that mattress, tuck it behind the shelves, and get out before anyone came into that office. I could not let them see me live like this. A couple of people close to me knew the situation, but most of them had no idea. The guy they used to work alongside was sleeping in the back room. I never got caught, but I lived in fear of it every single night. Eventually a friend lent me his RV, and I know that might not sound like much, but you have to understand what it meant like after where I had been. I had a couch, I had a television, and I had an oven and a stovetop where I could actually cook food and meals again. Things most people think about, but when you have been living in your car and sleeping on a closet floor, a couch feels like a miracle. And I had neighbors. The manager of the RV park lived on the one side of me. The head of the security lived on the other side of me. And somewhere in between morning coffee and evenings outside, we became friends, really close friends. They knew everything I had been through. They knew where I came from, and they showed up for me in any way. And I still am close to those people to this day. That was the first time in a long time that I felt like I was a human being again. And what came next was God. I'm a God-fearing man, and somewhere in the middle of all that darkness, I held on to one belief, that God had a purpose for me, that he wasn't done with me yet, that this story, as ugly and as embarrassing and painful as it was supposed to mean something. That there were men out there who were doing exactly what I had been doing and drowning in the same pain, and nobody was talking to them honestly about it. And maybe I was supposed to be that guy. And here was what I know about strength now that I did not know then. Strong men don't avoid the fall. They survive it, and then they stand up and they talk about it, because there are thousands of men watching this right now who might be in a car or a storage closet or just struggling altogether, who have stopped looking for a way forward, and they have never once heard another man tell them the truth about what that actually looks like. That is strength, not the absence of breaking, the willingness to stand out loud and say, you understand you're not broke. I'm not a perfect man. I have made terrible decisions. I've been in the absolute bottom of what a human being can experience. But I wake up every single day and I work to be better than I was yesterday. And if you're sitting there in that car right now, I need you to hear this. The parking lot is not the end of your story. I know that because I was there, and now I'm here. If this landed with you, I want you to keep going. Pick one of the videos on your screen right now. I made them exactly for where you are. And if you know a man who needs to hear this, send this to them. That might be the most important thing you do today.